there, Maz, for the drive home. Being a Monday, we're joined by Jake and Nico from Dornford Building Group.
Maz for the drive home, building for life.
Jake, Nico, how are you guys going?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Maz.
That is
fantastic.
Good. Very good. Owner builders, that's the topic for today in our Building for Life building segment. Basically going to start by what is an owner builder, Jake?
Well, an owner builder is someone who thinks they can do my job better than me. Nah, I'm joking. It's someone
Sort of joking.
It's someone who wants to undertake an extension or a new home all by themselves without a licensed builder, helping them through the process.
Sounds risky to me, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, it does. But some people, let's say they're a project manager of a big building firm, they might be like, yeah, cool, I can do this myself.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that they themselves are doing the work. It means that they are going out into the marketplace, getting subcontractors, going through the council process, doing everything themselves that a builder would normally do for you. It's like instead of getting your cleaner for your home, you clean your own house. It's like instead of getting your builder, I'm going to do this myself.
Yeah, okay.
So they essentially become legally responsible for managing the project.
And is this something that anyone can put their hand up and say they want to do, or is it only for people with specific qualifications? Like, how do you actually do it?
I would say anyone can do it. Not everyone should do it.
Should do it, yeah.
So in South Australia, you need an owner-builder permit for residential work over $12,000. So that's where you get home warranty insurance. That's if you're going through a builder. If you're doing that by yourself, you can actually sort of skip that home builder's insurance part. Yep. But essentially, other than that, everything else is the same as if a builder took it.
Okay, all right. And what about some of the pros and cons here? Because obviously it sounds a bit risky. It sounds like it's... Yeah.
I think the main pro is there's a lot of cost savings because you're cutting out the builder. You're doing all of the project management yourself.
Yep.
It means that the builder's not doing it. They're not putting their markup on any of the trades. Whether you're getting as good a rate from the trades as a builder who's using them all the time, it's sort of a different story that you need to work out. But, you do save on some of that project management that the builder would initiate. And then you've also got a little bit more control because you're in control of everything. So rather than if you go through a builder, you sign a contract, that's sort of generally how it is. There's not a heap of flexibility unless you start doing variations or changing the plans. But if you're running the show, you're in full control. Obviously, there's legal responsibilities that you still have to adhere to, but you can make changes on the fly without consulting anyone because you are in charge of the project.
Some of the cons, though.
Well, first of all, you take on a lot of the risk, and if there's a lot of people maybe underestimate the amount of time that goes into managing and organising 50 different trades to come through the home. Also, if you don't have the funds, so if you don't have, let's say the job's $100,000, which would be way more than that, but if you don't have $80,000 of the cash up front, you're not going to be able to get the loan for the last 20%. So it is very cash intensive. You need to have the money up in front. And then also, if things go wrong, you are liable for them. So, and then also something that other people don't look at as well is if you're not a supervisor. So if you don't actually have a builder's supervisor's license, you need to have a supervisor come in and sign off on all your work, and that can be upwards of $20,000 per job as well.
So I'm hearing here that there is a lot of risk associated, but there are some pros as well. Yeah. Obviously, from you guys, you are builders, so the bias is going to be go with a builder. No offense, but that's just the obvious. But I actually do think that genuinely, if you want peace of mind, if you want it to be done properly, it's better potentially. I mean, look, there's pros and cons, but I'm hearing it's probably better to go.
Well, ChatGPT would be able to help you out with a lot of the details.
For me, the comparison I would make is: would you trust your own research on your health versus a
going
professional who does it every day? Yeah, you'll probably get pretty close with a lot of things that you can do online, but you can also make some very big mistakes and miss things that are very obvious for someone who does it every single day. Because when you go out to a building site, unless you know what you're looking at, you really do not have any idea. And it's one of those investments we've spoken about on previous episodes, but it's a huge investment to make. So unless you're well equipped and educated and you know what you're doing, I would recommend probably staying clear of it because there's a lot of even with the correct people helping you, there's still a lot of things that can go wrong.
And legal sort of risks and things like that, and even just like insurance, because I imagine that's going to be expensive to
correct.
take out, whereas when you're paying someone else to do it, that's kind of absorbed in those fees.
Correct. And with a builder, they generally have all of their insurances and licenses all mapped out. So they've got their indemnity insurance, they've got their public liability insurance. So if anything does go wrong, anything major, and let's say one of your trades really lets you down, then you've got recourse through your builder. If you're doing it by yourself, you're sort of in that financial pit all by yourself.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons for both. But if you are someone who's potentially time poor, you maybe don't have all of those resources at your fingertips, the peace of mind of going with a builder is probably going to outweigh the extra.
So unless you're a builder or very knowledgeable in the industry, I'd probably advise against it.
Yep.
But again, it's dependent on each person and their circumstance. And
what would you, I know we have to wrap up, but just very quickly, if someone has a family member or a close friend who is a builder, would you recommend they go down that path of, can you do it for me? Or is it better to keep things like that separate when it comes to your biggest investment in life?
In my experience, I like to keep it separate.
Yeah.
But we are now at the stage where our processes and procedures are quite tight. And I'd be happy now to sort of, work with family and friends.
The difficult part is when you're working with family, if you've got a grievance, sometimes it feels hard to be able to share with them what you're really feeling. You don't want to damage their relationship.
Yes.
And, when you've got a builder and you've got a good relationship with them, you don't feel bad for asking them to fix things that you feel like they should fix or holding a grudge if something doesn't go well. So
even though the relationship between the builder and the client needs to be good and you need to be comfortable to bring things up, it's also, at the end of the day, it's still a professional relationship.
Correct.
So it's not family and feelings being hurt and those kinds of things.
100%.
When you start dealing with $1 million or $500,000 or $700,000, the relationship, it is very weird. It goes from being friendly to, when you catch up, you talk about the job.
Yeah.
When you catch up, you talk about what's going on.
It changes the dynamic.
Yeah. It's still very different. So
very different. Okay. Yeah. Some really good tips in there and some interesting insight as well. Next time we're going to be looking at construction loans, how they work, what banks do in those situations and that sort of thing. So we're going to get into all of that next time. And if you've got a topic for Jake and Nico, let us know. 0430 25 1079. Jake and Nico from Dornford Building Group. Thank you.
Thank you.